Hello, in this week's Footy Talk I am going to give you phrases from football but actually originated in horse racing. Okay, so horse racing is a popular sport in the UK. I know it may not be popular in your country, but in football there are many phrases that we use which actually come from horse racing. Number one is to go down to the wire. So this is a phrase that is used when it is very close near the finish. So in football, if a league season is very close between two teams, you can say it is going down to the wire. It is not decided yet, it is going down to the wire. This came from horse racing because a wire was used at the finishing line. They put a wire across the track. So if something is going down to the wire, it is going to be close near the end of the race. Number two is to be in the home stretch. So in horse racing, the home stretch is the final part of the race. So in football, you can use this to say that a team is coming towards the end of the season. They are in the home stretch. So maybe before the coronavirus suspension, Liverpool were in the home stretch. But now I don't know what will happen. Number three is a ringer. So we use this in amateur football really, maybe not in professional football. And a ringer is a player who maybe is not signed on for that club and is maybe much better than other players. So he is called a ringer. And this comes from horse racing because maybe sometimes to make money, they might put the name of the horse as a horse who is not very good, but actually it is a different horse and the horse performs much better. So this is called a ringer. Number four is to win hands down. So to win hands down in horse racing means if you are winning and in your horse racing you use your hands on the reins and then maybe you drop your hands so you're winning easily. So this can be used in football to say that a team won a match easily. You can say they won hands down. A similar phrase is to win at a canter. So this comes from horse racing, and a canter is when a horse is not running at full speed, maybe half speed is a canter. So a horse maybe wins the race and slows down before the finishing line, so they win at a canter. But in football and in English you can use this if you win something easily and maybe without trying, maybe you win at a canter. Which Manchester City won the Premier League maybe 3 seasons ago at a canter. A phrase that we use in football is a two-horse race. So this is a phrase that we use to describe a league in which there are maybe only 2 teams that can win the league realistically. So in La Liga possibly there is Barcelona and Real Madrid. So you can say that this league is going to be a two-horse race. Next is a front runner. So in horse racing this is for a horse who is maybe favourite to win the race because they are far ahead of the other horses or they are setting the pace by being in front of the other horses. They are called a front runner. But we can use this in English or in football to describe a team who is maybe winning the league by a number of points. So they are the front runners in the league, but actually the league is not finished and they may not win the league and they may be overtaken by other teams. Sometimes in football there is a team who wins a few matches at the start of the season, so they are the front runners, but maybe they are not favourites for the league. A similar phrase to a front runner is a pace setter. So a pace setter is somebody who is maybe winning the league at the start of the season. They have started the season very well, so they are the pace setters. Neck and neck. So this is a phrase from horse racing. When 2 horses are very close to each other, you can say they are neck and neck. We can use this in football maybe if 2 teams are very close to each other. So last season, Manchester City and Liverpool were neck and neck for most of the season. Manchester City would win a match and then Liverpool would win. So they had similar points totals all of the season. They were neck and neck. Okay, a shoe-in. So a shoe-in is a phrase that comes from horse racing when a horse is sure to win. You are certain they are going to win. So maybe you can use this in football when deciding who is going to be the next manager or the next coach, you can say, this person is a shoo-in. He is sure to get the job. So maybe Steven Gerrard is a shoo-in for the Liverpool coach's job when Jurgen Klopp retires or when Jurgen Klopp switches teams. Steven Gerrard is a shoo-in. And this phrase comes from horse racing because a horse who is sure to win a race. Shoo is a verb, and shoo means to wave your hands, usually at an animal to get them away or to move them. You shoo them. Okay, so a shoo-in was a horse that was going to win the race that sometimes needed pushing maybe, or needed shooing to win the race. So they were classed as a shoo-in. A dark horse is used in horse racing to try to pick a horse that may win, but nobody thinks that they are going to win. So again, we can use this in football. Usually when we are predicting something, when we are predicting the winners of a competition or a league, you might suggest or predict a team that nobody thinks is going to do well, but you think are going to do well. So you can say, for example, this season Sheffield United are a dark horse. To be not at the races. So the races is an event of horse racing, and I have heard coaches use this after a football match if their team doesn't perform well. So if your team doesn't perform to their usual standard, maybe you can say, we were not at the races today.
Were you disappointed with the performance that your team put out? They seem to be disjointed, as if like the plan.
Yeah, we were not at the races in the first half. I think in the second half it was much better. We should have scored a few goals, but...
Okay, so a head start. And this again comes from horse racing, because when a horse starts a race maybe before other horses, it has a better chance of winning. So this is called a head start. And in sport, we use this if the other team gets an early advantage. So they get more points early in the season, so they have a head start. Also, it is used in amateur football or sport in general. If you give a weaker team a head start, you give them maybe 3 goals and you start on 0, so they are winning 3-0 before the start of the match, so they have a head start. It is usually used in running. So if you are racing your daughter or your brother and you say, okay, you start first and then I will start. So that is a head start, which comes from horse racing. Okay, so to give someone a run for their money. So this comes from betting and gambling in horse racing. So if in horse racing, when you are picking a horse, you want a horse that will have a good chance of winning and will give you a run for your money, will be close and will cause excitement for you for the amount that you bet or the amount that you gambled. So in football, or figuratively, we can use this if a team challenges somebody. So if you challenge somebody, maybe you are giving them a run for their money. So this season in Serie A, you can say that Lazio are giving Juventus a run for their money because it is quite close in Serie A and Lazio are challenging Juventus to win the league. Again, related to gambling is a long shot. So a long shot is a horse that is usually an outsider and maybe doesn't have a chance of winning. So for example, Leicester, when they won the Premier League, they were a long shot. Okay, that's it. Some phrases that you can use in football which were taken from horse racing. Please like and comment below. Maybe you can think of some other phrases. See you in the next video.